First episode, fine, good. It was goofy, but that's it. Nothing happened in it besides the final 2 minutes where it zooms out and there's a guy staring at TV.
And the logo looks like the logo for Sword. And Sword, as you could probably hazard a guess, is an agency in the comics anyway that is a counterpart to S.H.I.E.L.D. Sword is Space S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's Space S.H.I.E.L.D.
In WandaVision, SWORD stands for Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division.
What's the timeline for this?
Post-Endgame.
Alright, so Vision is alive, right? Because he comes back in Endgame, right?
Nope.
No.
So Vision is not really there.
Who knows? Find out in a few weeks' time. Only on Disney Plus.
Read my review for more speculation.
What I'll do, just for you, Lawrence, I will go onto your website, I'll print them all your reviews, and I'll put them in my toilet for when I run out of toilet paper.
Like if you like that idea. Dislike if Big Bradley's a You don't really know what to expect because the trailers have all been like, what the hell is this show? What is going on? I've got ideas as to what's going on. I've got some very solid ideas, which, hunting around the interweb, seeing what people are saying, enforces some of these ideas and is enlightening me into some things that I didn't consider. So there's a lot more going on than what it seems.
Yeah, I kind of guess that. But it is interesting. Like, I do generally really like this show. I love the aesthetic. I'm kind of sad that it's now going to be in color because I actually really did like the. It
looked really good in black and white, didn't it? Like,
oh, nice, and I like the era. It's like that. I like American kind of 50s feel and like.
But it's referencing stuff like I Love Lucy and Bewitched and. So
things I've never watched.
No, I've not watched them either, but like I know.
You know that it is that era.
Sitcoms, yeah.
Sitcoms of the 50s and 60s. So does that mean that each episode will take place within a sitcom of that decade?
Yeah,
not each episode. Surely, like it's gonna. Probably two.
So, because the first one had like a 50s aesthetic, then the second one was 60s, and then we're going into the 70s.
Yeah.
Presumably next time.
Yeah.
Was there a time change between the first and second episode then?
Yeah.
Didn't dawn on me that one.
Well, I guess because they were both still in black and white.
Black and white still had that cheese. So it still had the canned laughter. But okay.
Which they were actually able to film it in front of a live studio audience.
Really?
Before tighter restrictions were brought in, yeah. Everyone in the audience had to sign an NDA. If I were given the opportunity to do that, I'd definitely sign. Like.
Oh, I would be there.
Oh, of course. No way I'd miss out on that.
And then I'd break my NDA, go in prison, but enjoy every second of it.
You go right for Screen Rant or where you got this covered.
Exactly. But yeah, so like first episode, yeah, it really wasn't not much to say about it. I liked the Stark advert in it.
Yeah. So the adverts. The adverts. Ha ha ha. What do you make of them, Bradley? And then I will tell you what they mean.
I just thought they were like goofy little add-ons, to like just kind of roll with that in a universe thing.
Well, deceptive.
So the toaster one. The toaster one brought something up for me because I feel like the way that it was beeping.
The adverts, what we're all theorizing is that they are reflective of Wanda's memories and her history. If you look at the first one, it is about Stark Industries with a beeping metal device that exudes heat.
Oh, the bomb that blew up her home.
The bomb that blew up her home and killed her parents.
Yeah.
If you look at the second advert,
it's the Strucker watch, isn't it?
A Hydra Strucker who watches over her. Very reminiscent of the Baron, who watched over her and Quicksilver as they were under Hydra's captivity.
And also gave her her powers, or unlocked her powers anyway.
Yes.
Anyway,
I do like the way how in the first 2 episodes, to keep the immersion, they film it very statically, like how they would have filmed things in the studio. And then when you've got these 4 full breaks, the immersion snaps away with more kinetic camera movements. It's very touch.
And I think the way they deliver the humor, it helps that they have the studio audience.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, you'd deliver the joke and then there'd be no reaction to it. You know what I mean? There's no.
And it just kind of helps. There's a video of like when they removed canned laughter from the Friends episodes, and it doesn't land the same. The show comes across very awkward when they don't have the canned laughter. So, I'm not saying the show without the canned laughter would be awkward, but it does definitely help for some of those like joke deliveries and making those jokes feel more funny.
None of the characters know who they are, what they're doing there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like lying just under the surface that's like.
There are a couple of characters potentially that you should keep close eye on. One of them is Agnes, the nosy neighbour. The other is
Geraldine, right?
If that is the name that she is presenting herself with. Agnes. AKA possibly Agatha Harkness, AKA Witch, AKA Servant of Mephisto. If you pay close attention to her dialogue, like in the second episode especially, when they say the devil's in the detail and she goes, that's not the only place the devil is. So Mephisto is basically Marvel's version of the devil. I believe that's who Ghost Rider made his deal with.
It is, yes.
Yeah. He's got agents all over the place. But in the comics, and also bear in mind that there's a lot of references to children throughout these episodes as well. So in the comics, Mephisto manipulates Wanda into conjuring up children who are Wiccan and Speed, I believe. And I don't know the specifics of the plot, but it's a maniacal, devious plot by the devil to harvest these kids from her. Except I don't think the kids are real in the first place, and that makes Wanda go insane, which ultimately leads to the House of M storyline, which is where
she says no more mutants, and then
and she creates this alternate reality where the mutants don't exist. So I believe WandaVision to be a combination of these two storylines: the infamous child storyline, and then House of M, which we're dealing with this false reality Wanda has created out of grief. Except the MCU's version of it is that she's maybe created this reality out of grief for Vision. Whether she's done it for her own accord, we don't know, because it's insinuated that she possibly hasn't done this of her own accord. But even so, there's this Mephisto element and this devilry witchcraft element throughout of all of it. And even when you look at the second episode with the constant for the children thing, like in Hot Fuzz,
that seemed a little bit weird, because it was like culty, chanty sort of.
One of the first things that she says when she comes through the door in episode 1 is, "Why don't you have kids yet?" We begin the second episode when they smack the beds together and they conceive throughout all of the meetings as for the children thing, like a cult. She's pregnant by the end of the episode with all these little dotted things lying under the surface with this extra flavorous detail.
It's because I remember saying, as you said, I remember writing in my review that she could possibly be so grief-stricken that she's created this whole alternate reality to keep the memory of Vision alive.
I only wonder about that because of Jimmy Woo's radio broadcasts asking who's doing this to you, Wanda. That kind of insinuates that she's not done it of her own accord.
Yeah.
Also studying the trailer footage as well. She's kind of like trapped in this bubble. This town is in like a bubble sort of thing. The red helicopter that she finds in episode 2, I believe, was an actual helicopter that went through the barrier between reality and her bubble, and by going through, it got up and became a toy, and thus allowed her to break. Because you hear it before you see the helicopter, you hear it crashing.
For a minute, I thought the broadcast was somebody. Because obviously they're asking who did this to you, Wanda. So maybe she's being held there. But I thought it sounded a bit like Steve.
No, it's Jimmy Woo, so the agent from Ant-Man 2.
Oh yeah. Scott's like parole.
Yeah.
Guy. Yeah.
He's in the series. Darcy from the 4 films is in the series as well, and Geraldine is actually Monica Rambeau, the little girl from Captain Marvel, who is also one of the Captain Marvels from the comics.
So, Bradley, you know her pilot friend in Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Her daughter is Geraldine.
Monica.
Or Monica is...
Is that something to read into, or is that just, casting? For the sake of casting?
She's playing Monica in this series. She's also going to be in Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
But study her performance and study Agnes, and then consider, are they under the same illusion as everybody else? Because everybody else doesn't have a clue why they're there. Are those two acting? Are they being genuine? Because there's something fishy about Agnes, and because we know Geraldine is Monica, is she... Because I'm understanding that she's been sent in there by SWORD to get Wanda out.
Okay, and what, she has to, play along until they can get her out?
Maybe. It's a theory.
So in the comics, her powers come from what is essentially called chaos magic, and it's this ability that she uses mysticism and magic to sort of bend reality or aspects of it to her will. She can also do the typical, sort of mind-ready type thing that Xavier does. So maybe there's that. Maybe Mephisto has sensed someone who is powerful in magic and is like, let's trick her and Vision into making babies so that I can use them for my own ends. Whatever that end is whatever. It might not even be.
Mephisto has put Wanda into this realm, or whatever, illusion, mind control, whatever, to achieve something for his own gain.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's kind of like this thing that he wants her to have kids.
He wants her to have kids because they're like part of his soul or something. Well, I imagine she's done something like a Rumpelstiltskin kind of deal with the devil, where he has given the ability to create this paradise reality that she can trap herself in and live in without having to acknowledge the outside world, so she can trick herself into believing that Vision is still alive and all of that. Meanwhile, the devil, or whoever she's made this deal with, is manipulating her via Agnes to get children from her or something regarding that old storyline. And SWORD has come along and found this big nebulous, which is basically the false reality that she's created. They've set up camp around it. They are monitoring it. They're trying to break in and get her out. They're sending agents in. They're sending this beekeeper guy in. They're sending Monica in. They're trying to contact her via the radio and figure out what the hell is going on and to get her out. That's my take.
I like that theory. That makes sense to me.
Well, it would make sense that she would make a deal for that because of how much she loved Vision.